Hello, I haven't done many proper videos in a while. I've done a lot of covers, but I haven't done a sitting down chatting video or any kind of my usual stuff. So I wanted to do that today, and it'll partially explain why I haven't been doing videos for a while. Um, so this is another Getting Real video. And in this one, I wanted to go over problems with depressed friends because it is something that I have very recently had to deal with, and I know people who are also dealing with it, and I know there are people out there who are dealing with it and don't know how to deal with it. They don't know what to do, they don't know where to go for help. So I wanted to just do this. I'm going to try and not talk about what's going on personally with my friends and I because it's very personal and it wouldn't be fair to them to do that. But I have had friends who have threatened to kill themselves, and when I think the moment when you hear your friend say something like that, your heart just stops for a second, and then it's it's just this feeling of, first of all, disbelief and shock, and then, are you joking? You're joking, aren't you? Um, but seeing your friend have a breakdown is not a pleasant thing to witness, and I know this firsthand. And I know people will have friends out there who are going through really difficult stuff, and they are showing signs of being suicidal or just depression signs, and I think the first thing you need to know is that it isn't your fault. You haven't failed this person as a friend. Um, it's not anything to do with you. If this person is feeling this way, it is because of things they haven't dealt with from the past, usually, and it doesn't have anything to do with you. And another thing is that you should probably start, if it seems serious, talk to someone trusted, like most preferably an adult, because adults seem to run things around this kind of subject. If you don't really trust parents or anything, go to a counsellor because they can't really tell. They have a policy thing, they can't tell things. And you can just even get your friend in there and to talk with you and the counsellor, because I think as well as them needing help on their own, you're going to need help with the both of you together to make sure your relationship stays healthy and is open communication and everything. Because when someone starts to go through dark thoughts, it gets to a point where you isolate yourself from a lot of people because you just can't be bothered. You're just tired, really, I think, and the idea of getting out of bed some days is painful, and it's like running a marathon. But if they're saying something, that means it's most likely not in the worst stages yet. As my counsellor described it to my friend and I, not the friend I'm having the issues with, but his girlfriend actually. He said that when you start to go through depression and things, you have a kind of layer over you, and you can see other people through it, but it's quite foggy, it's dark, and you're concealed in there. But it takes a time for that to happen. It doesn't happen suddenly. It takes a stage of it coming over you and slowly covering and covering until it's all over you and nothing can get out. And that's when people won't be likely to talk about it. to talk about what's going on. But if they are talking a little bit about it, at least it shows that they are hopefully not in the really, really dark warning sign stage yet. And that's something that I was really happy to hear. But as well as what the counsellor said, it's the people who don't speak up who he worries about most, because they don't have anyone to have for support, to talk to about their issues and things that are going on. Even if it's just a friend who you trust and you can just talk to them about what's going on and how you're feeling, then but by that stage you just can't really. And I think for some people there are signs, but for other people there aren't, and that can be one of the most difficult things, because you don't ever really know what another person is thinking. You can never see in their mind, know exactly how they feel. And I think that is something I've always been really conscious of, and I try to not assume things about people because of that. Of course, because I'm a human, judgment is the first nature, but if you can manage to look past that, then you can hopefully get a crack at actually looking inside and seeing what's going on. If your friend is quiet, just like showing classic symptoms of depression or anything, if they're just withdrawing, they're not talking to you, they aren't working on their schoolwork much, if they don't seem to be having a great life at home, just talk to them to start with, and then you can see where you should go from there, whether it is something that is very serious that needs to be taken into, whether it's just they're feeling a little stressed at the moment but it's not a problem. But if they are saying troublesome things, then it's important that you do tell someone, because as what happened when my friend was saying things, I remember that I was crying a large part of the night, and I was just wishing I could go find where he lived and make sure he was okay, because I think when you get dragged into people's problems, it does sort of become your responsibility in your brain, even though it shouldn't be. And that is a thing you have to be careful of, because supporting your friend is really important, but you can't you can't make it affect you, because then the same problems they have will be reflected onto you with all the stress and pressure that you have now because of this situation. So you can't just stay looking after someone without anyone else helping for too long, because it just puts too much strain on you, and you really lose motivation to help, you lose the understanding, and this is really hard for me to explain, but I think a huge thing for me was that I never really had friends growing up. I mean, I had a couple, but they were never very close. I got bullied a bit at school, and a lot of my friends were very on and off with me, and I know I could be like that too, and I don't completely blame them for anything that happened, but I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. I think the first time I had real friends was in year 6, and I met these girls who are still my friends to this day, and I just, when you meet someone and you immediately know that you're friends, if you know what it's like to be a friend, then you know how it feels to see them cry, to see them be hurt, to see them be anxious, to see them sad, and it crushes you really, because you are just thinking, I don't know what I'd do without this person. I don't know how to live without them, and hopefully you shouldn't have to for too long, because hopefully you can get help for people if they need it. But of course, not taking it on your shoulders completely too much is a huge thing that needs to be considered. I don't know how much of this made sense. I may have not explained things I meant correctly in here. So if you have any questions about this, if you have any friends who are saying things that have you worried, if they're showing sort of symptoms like withdrawing from everyone, neglecting schoolwork, that kind of thing, please leave a comment and let me know what's going on. If you want, you can email me. I'll put my email address down in the description, so you can email me about that stuff. And I really hope this helped at least a bit.